All right, we are live, everybody. Welcome to another impromptu live stream on the Scientific Origins channel. We have no planning, we have no organization over here. We just go when we feel like it, and we feel like it right now, big time, for a lot of reasons. Y'all know me if you're subscribed to my channel. My name's Austin Sims. I'm a science enthusiast, an atheist, cringy debate bro on YouTube. It's funny because Seth, have you done any debates or?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't plan on it because I'm a worse debate bro than anybody I've seen. No, it's just not my strong suit. I do enjoy watching them though. I mean, you kind of, well, we'll get into your debate successes later. It's not what the stream's about, but right. I do the watching when it comes to debates, not the partaking.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's funny because from a certain perspective, I almost do exactly what Charlie Kirk does, or did rather. Not the same. Like, I talk to people, I share my opinions, and I talk to them, and I try to sway them, and that's exactly what Charlie Kirk did for a living before he got. Well, we all know. So
yeah,
it's interesting how many people are willing to embrace that and not realize how many people they care about that it'll put in the crosshairs. But we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. And Seth, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for anybody on my channel?
Well, my name's Seth. I'm Ambushed Apostate.
Oh no, I can't hear you.
Oh,
are you muted?
We should have at least done a sound check.
Audience, can you hear Seth? I can't hear him.
Oh shoot, dude! The tech gremlins from the damn show have already arrived. What is happening? All right, hold on. I'm going to disable everything and come right back.
Oh, what happened? Oh. You guys hear him? I couldn't hear him. Okay, I hear you now.
Right, check 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Deal. So yeah, I was just saying, my name's Seth. I'm Ambushed Apostate on YouTube. Primarily, I talk about cults and high control religious groups. I have sort of branched out more of the science-based versus evolution topics. Obviously, some basic atheism, activism type stuff. But I really love the community that this little group of creators have sort of come together and made. So I'm honored to be here. Austin was one of the few that were at the Ark Encounter protest in the Airbnb I stayed at. We've got a sort of unique group of people that stayed there. And so I'm glad to be here and doing something live with him. But yeah. Let's get into the whole situation. There's been so many people cover this. I don't necessarily want to pick apart everything that happened. And, I think we need to talk about the effect that this could have on all of us if we don't handle this in a way that is mature and respectful to a certain extent. I think it can get ugly. That's sort of, I think the most important part of where we're at now.
Yeah. As far as I see it, it's going to be really tough. We have to strike a balance between things that are difficult to balance.
Right.
The fact that somebody lost their life and the simultaneous parallel fact that this was a person who was maybe not doing great things with that life, according to a lot of people. But I see dangers in paralleling the very kind of behavior that we want to address. I think it's easier for you and me, Seth. We're both former Hovendites, former right-wingers,
absolutely,
former YECs. We have been on that side of the aisle.
Absolutely.
And I know what they're feeling right now. I was in Jim Bob's live chat when he got the news that Kirk had been shot, and he shut it down.
Wow.
Man,
Oh,
I
I'm
could
sure he
see.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was not too long ago. It's been, about 5 years now. But I was Alex Jones, all the way. If there was a conspiracy, it was for me. And I didn't need any evidence except for Alex Jones has the documents. I mean, he's got the documents. He tells you he's got them. So you don't need to worry about anything else. It's true. And I lived my life by that. And I would believe literally anything and did. So I know these people truly do believe whatever version of this is being spun to them. The scarier part than the overall, like, was it a false flag? Was it a grassy knoll situation? We know that Charlie Kirk is dead. That is painfully obvious. And for the record, I wish it wouldn't have happened. I wish he would have changed his mind and his views and stopped his hateful behavior. That being said, we can't change that. This distraction of, well, who shot him or what happened or who are these people doing this stuff? The issue is it's happened and people are really upset about it. And there's a group of people. Again, I was involved in a pretty fringe Christian nationalist MAGA group at the end of my religious chapter in life. And these people, make no mistake about it, are already ready and are now waiting for something to pop off. Because to them, for the last few years, especially under Biden, it was this perilous times. These dark times are right around the corner. Oh my God, they're here. They're coming. And that priming over and over for years and years that, right around the corner is this big, the government's coming for the Christians. Mm-hmm. That is what they're seeing in this. Charlie Kirk is a martyr to them, and they are ready to follow in the footsteps. I mean, I saw a picture today of Jesus and Charlie Kirk and a couple presidents that were assassinated. Martin Luther King. People are idolizing him, and that part scares me because I know what these people have in their attics and their basements, the guns and the skills. It's a scary situation. That's where we're at, in my view.
Yeah. No, I one thing I have observed, honestly, if Charlie Kirk hadn't got shot and killed, I wouldn't be talking about him today. And if anybody brought him up, all I would say is, "Oh, that guy sucks," and then move right on. Like he
wasn't on the forefront of anything, but now I was thinking about this when I picked Chris up from work today. We were driving back. People were passing me, and I thought every person on this highway knows who Charlie Kirk is. Every one of them have said his name or thought about him. It's wild, the information that we have, but everybody knows.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man.
He is going to give the right wing so much more power as a martyr than he ever gave them as a cringy debate bro. As a cringy debate bro, he may have harmed their cause, actually, by, just getting creamed in so many debates.
Right. Well, when you say things so blatantly racist, as in if I see my pilot as black, I'm going to have an issue or panic or whatever. That's a paraphrase for the record, but that isn't resonating with people in 2025. Not most people. Even some of your more kooky, right-wing Christians have kind of let that particular issue go. So, yeah, I think you're right. He did isolate some people. But the flip side of that is the people who had his full attention, his true supporters, were the fringe that did still support that did still think the Civil Rights Act was a mistake and that abortion is equivalent to the Holocaust and, gay people are X, Y, and Z, just on and on and on. They still believe that. So that's the small minority of people that unfortunately are the most riled up.
So I think one thing, we're not going to unpack everything about this, obviously, but one thing we do probably need to get into is where we're at with the shooter, because things have developed.
Right.
First, everybody was saying obvious left-winger, right? That who else would want to kill Charlie Kirk so badly?
Right.
But in reality,
it was the assumption.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't think there were many people on, and I hate to sound divisive, but our side versus their side, we sort of have to make that differentiation at this point because we have some violence going on that we have to separate ourselves from. So when I say us versus them, it's more out of necessity. but there's people on our side that were waiting for evidence. As critical thinkers and skeptics, we were waiting on evidence. The right was pushing that he was probably some green-haired liberal that hated, transgender, this, that, and the other, and all these things.
Yeah.
That
Like I
was
said,
the assumption.
I was in Jim Bob's chat when
Oh,
the
Lord.
news
Yeah.
was broke. I saw all kinds of comments, probably a tranny, probably a Democrat. It doesn't
Man.
Charlie Kirk work for the Jews, and I'm sure those conspiracy theories are still running rampant and will run rampant.
Oh,
There
of
are
course.
people who have already decided that the shooter is transgender, and no amount of evidence to the contrary is going to change their mind. It's all already the conspiracies are ramping up, and a misinformation snowball is forming as it tumbles down the hill, picking up this and that detail.
Yep.
And
go ahead.
When you're when it crashes at the end, it all splatters apart. How are you going to tell which were the real details? And this is one of the problems with the new model of informational conveyance. It used to be we couldn't convey information well enough. Writing changed that. And now with the internet, we convey information too well. Every crazy idea can be spread to all of the corners of every continent.
Right. And like I said today, everyone on the highway had access instantly because everybody got that notification through their newsfeed. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, and one of the things I'm thinking about as we navigate this is the two biggest things that I think we need to keep in mind is that we don't want to give in to violent urges. We don't want to give in to sadistic urges. I know it would feel really good to rub some salt in some wounds right now. And we've had salt rubbed in our wounds. When we heard about protesters getting killed in Kenosha, the right wing was all too excited. They couldn't wait to rub salt in those wounds. They were saying those poor victims, those protesters were pedophiles 3 seconds after their bodies had hit the ground. And the temptation is to turn about, to say, hey, you know what? You want to do that to us? We'll do it right back to you. Somebody you cared about just got hurt. Get ready for the memes. And oh boy, are there memes. So many memes already.
Here's the thing with what you're saying. To me, in the past, when I've grown through some bad beliefs and kind of worked through some things, there's always this point for me where something that I know I should do feels not natural. And that, you know what? Screw them, because they screwed me first. Feels good. You get your vindication. You feel like you're even. But is that the right thing to do? And you have to look at that through a different lens. And that's what I've had to sort of relearn after the deconstruction. It's not a religious thing anymore. This is, does this align with my moral compass or not? And the reality is, if it was me, I don't want my kids to one day grow up and read, search my name, pull up memes. And these are things that I've seen today, not from any specific people, but just floating around. The frame or two right after that bullet hit him, and it looks like a horror movie. And some of the text on the screen is some of the most distasteful and just overtly offensive. I don't want my kids to see that if it was me, so I'm not going to engage in that. On top of that, I find that, just morally repugnant behavior. But I think we have to get to a point where when you want to take, and return an eye for an eye, we got to take the high road here. And it's going to be tough for some people. And I understand that it's tough for some people. I understand that Charlie Kirk pushed some of the most toxic beliefs that you can hold about other people. And I mean, I believed him. You may have some similar experiences. I felt similar ways to similar groups of people because of people like his influence. Because guess what? My pastor, his son, is teaching all our youth right now to this day. I guarantee you he's mourning the loss of a true godly martyr tonight. And that's going to now spill over to my kids. So there's this snowball effect. But again, we got to keep it on the forefront. We have to take the high road because the world is watching us.
We're going to see some very untasteful tattoos. There's going to be a lot of Charlie Kirk tattoos mixed with religious iconography tattoos. We're going to see that. We're going to see memes like that. We're going to see all kinds of sociological reactions to this, and you're spot on, Seth. And this is why we need to be really careful and thoughtful when we're navigating this. I think that this is part of the reason why I think it's kind of a little unwise and maybe a little cruel to celebrate what happened to him, because we still don't know enough yet. That's a big part of it too. And we're seeing on the right wing right now that if you don't know enough and you make the wrong comments, it's really embarrassing for you. And we've seen that in the form of everybody was saying the shooter was a transgender person or a leftist or something like that. And like, look at the trees said, now the data is indicating something maybe different. I don't know how much is confirmed, but I've heard a ton of reporting that the family's all MAGA. And I think the grandma came out and said the son is MAGA too. They're all MAGA. So it seems like it's a good chance that what actually happened here, and I'm going to be about as crass as I'm going to be in this video because I just don't know a better way to put this, is a MAGA nut job shot another MAGA nut job for not being enough of a MAGA nut job. It wasn't that some blue-haired leftist hippie liberal pinko communist shot Charlie Kirk because he's too MAGA. No, another MAGA shot Charlie Kirk for not being MAGA enough. But don't worry, it's definitely not a cult, you guys.
Well, myself and a couple other content creators were sort of trying to hash this stuff out today in real time, and it was really cool to sit down with it was the Kentucky Atheist, Chris Mallard, and a couple other people. We were trying to figure out if some of this stuff that was coming out was true or not, and it was a refreshing experience to me because none of us took what we were reading at face value. We were like, all right, we're going to go figure this out and we'll report back. And we were kind of sharing things in real time. That is a big thing right now because we do not want to be spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
It does appear from multiple reports, and I've got receipts, so to speak. I am going to do a short-term, long-form, shorter video kind of covering some of this in the next day or two. But we've got some receipts. We know that this is a straight white male who was from a mainstream Christian religion, Mormonism, and most people believe that is a Christian religion. Some people think it's not Christian. The point is, the man was a religious person. He's a white straight male, and he was a huge MAGA fan. That fits none of the narrative. Donald Trump should be on stage apologizing for basically saying we already know who it is and it's everybody that we hate. Yeah. Because in reality, it's one of your own. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. A MAGA has smoked a MAGA, and y'all don't know what to do about it. That's the issue.
I honestly doubt their brains will even be able to wrap around it. I think they will continue to deny that the shooter is MAGA. They'll probably not accept it and say that it's a false flag or something. I can't see a way. I try to put my apologist hat on sometimes and go back to what that was like and think how I would spin that, and I got nothing.
Well, there's a built-in distrust of anything that's not information directly from very specific sources. This is how we,
Trump's orange thumbs themselves.
Right, exactly. And this is how we differentiate, high control environments, how they control and manipulate information.
Yeah.
Part of the reason and the way that they do that, the way they do that is they control where you can and can't get your information. So, I heard it weekly, get off of Facebook, dump Facebook and Instagram, get on Gab and Rumble, where you can be in this little echo chamber with all these other Christian extremists, and then you get in those places, and that's all you hear. So a lot of these people that we're referring to may not even fully understand the story because they are only getting one angle. Yep. And that is influencing their entire direction moving forward, that one section of information. So that in of itself is a problem right there.
Yeah. It's an entry technique to another technique. Once they've got you isolated, they put you on a cycle, on a constant, consistent loop of reinforcement. The talking points get skewed over and over and over and over again until the words start to lose meaning. They're just pressed into your gray matter.
When you well, when you couple that with a religious aspect, right? You have the preacher saying, dwell daily on my precepts, says the Lord. This is pray without ceasing. What are you talking to the Lord about? It's what you're listening to and what you're watching and what you're thinking. So all the time you're being encouraged, literally all the time. And it's put through a religious filter where it's literally, there may be some sin involved here. I really got to stay on top of what I'm thinking about, what I'm not thinking about, or else you get that guilt and that shame and that isolation from within the group. When we specifically, certain cults, but it's a very delicate, this is a very delicate situation because these people aren't aware they're being manipulated in the moment, but their actions based on this manipulation may result in more violence. And that's what I'm hoping that we'll somehow be able to avoid. Because, me and you both have kids growing up in this, and that's my thing. This needs to stop now before they're, growing up as adults, trying to put an entire country back together that's been ravaged by civil war. Because that's where we're headed, I feel like.
There's major sociological aspects to this. So one of the sociological aspects I see manifesting as a result of this is a whole new level of sanctioning. Are you familiar with the concept of a sanction?
Seth? Yeah.
And it's not always a negative thing. It just means something that a group does to condition behavior. They can be negative. They can be positive. Like, for instance, Charlie Kirk was getting a lot of sanctions when he was still alive, going out and debating. His in-group loved that. They were giving him major sanctions for that. Now there's going to be sanctions all around Kirk. It's going to be a landmine talking to anybody who cares about him. The field, it's going to be a landmine field, rather, to navigate having a conversation with them without immediately hitting a sanction. If you are not reverent enough, sanction. If you're too reverent, sanction.
Right. Well, literally, I was reading a story just before we went live of a Secret Service agent who just lost his job for, I think he said, if you're mourning this death, delete me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's not the worst thing I've heard. I've even read today about it by a long shot, right? I mean, could have been a lot worse, but I think, again, that goes back to this mindset of, a dude died. He taught some really crappy things. But for right now, we're going to put that aside because he was a human being who had a family. He wasn't the embodiment of these bad ideas. He was a person who had bad ideas. And that's what I've realized more and more as I've left it, because I'm looking back and I'm thinking, I believed some really horrible things and thought some really bad ways about certain types of people. But I wasn't as a whole, like in a whole, bad. I just believe some bad things. So that is a whole nother aspect to this that I'm hoping that some people will look at what people in their own community are saying, some of this gross stuff, and go, you know what? That's a little far for me. I got to draw a line.
Yeah.
Great. Draw that line. Use some empathy. And some introspection, and look at yourself and say, if my kids were reading this about me, would I want someone to write it or something? Or just keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say anything at all, right?
Yeah.
Get those thoughts going and get those thought processes changed away from this. Well, F him because he said F me first, right?
Yeah. No,
It's
yeah,
complicated, dude. There's a lot of
it
aspects
is.
to it.
It is. It really is. And it's going to be one of those things where we're all going to age like 20 years over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've had
And I can already feel it. I feel like I'm 50 right now.
Yeah, and I've had a crazy couple years anyway. So yeah, I will look 10 years older probably this time next year. One thing I think I really want to make sure I touch on, because I've had some heated conversations with some good people, and they're like, "Look, you're giving this dude a pass. He was an absolute piece of trash. I'm going to call him out for that. I want to make this very clear too. Number one, I don't condone violence. We've already covered that. Number two, I have learned how to separate a human being from their beliefs. My backstory during my deconstruction, very angry atheist stage, my ex-wife and my children were still firm believers, sincere believers, and I destroyed a lot of our relationship with my mouth because I was not focused on their bad beliefs. I'll attack them as people, not with my fists, but with my words and the way that I treated them in some ways. I know what that's like, and I beg people, don't go down that road. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an opportunity to separate the bad behavior from the person, attack that bad behavior, because that's the second point. I want to be clear. He taught horrible things, and I'm not condoning anything he said or taught at all. It should be spoken out against. All I'm saying is I don't think it should be mixed in the day he dies with videos of him literally the second he left this world for his kids to see. Things like that. So
yep,
don't make the same mistakes I've made.
I think that is exactly the thing that will drive people deeper into their worldview. Whereas a compassionate word, a compassionate hand,
right,
is something that might be the kairos, the moment where that can draw people out. Because I have seen people who are hurting from this. And there's correlations to the bio-neurological aspect of this, in that conservatism and extremism have correlations with specific brain phenotypes, with neurophenotypes.
Right.
And
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're all right. Like I was getting into the idea that there's going to be people right now who are going through the fight or flight neurological response.
Oh, absolutely.
It's way more complicated than actually fight or flight. There's actually like 5 different options.
Yeah.
And
and that's one reason I was hoping. I'd actually reached out to AJ over at Waste to Human. She does a lot of really good work on the brain specifically.
Yeah.
I do cult stuff. You do creation versus evolution. She's really, really good with brain stuff. I want to know what these people are going through on a level that we can understand through data, because this is a real phenomenon. Like you're saying, not only are people hurting, there's people emotionally charged. This is changing brain chemistry. This constant.
Yes.
Let me just say this real quick.
Excellent point.
I listened to Alex Jones all day, every day back in the day, right? It was just the supplemental information throughout the day. I can't imagine how insane I must have sounded and how much I drove my ex-wife crazy. And she probably thought, if he doesn't shut up, I'm gonna kill him. You know, in the moment I didn't see that, but you get so fixated on all of these things and being hyped up and being mad, and you know, sometimes for good reason. You know, innocent people are killed, and we should be upset when we see cops, you know, shooting unarmed people, things like that.
Absolutely.
That still elicits so much emotion, and just you're amped up, your brain chemistry changes. I'd like to hear somebody with some experience in that field explain that. But also, I'm fascinated with this man's concept. I've never heard someone say it. I mean, we all acted like it. We didn't have empathy for anybody. It was, you know, I told, you know, when I was on the Apostate Sisters interview, I told them I was a kind bully because you make fun of people who don't believe like you, but you have a smile on your face. It's a lack of empathy, right? I've never heard anyone but Charlie Kirk say that, like, so proudly. And as a layman, I'm thinking, okay, like psychopathy, sociopathy causes a lack of empathy. Like, what else would cause someone to be so brazenly cold? I mean, to call it some sort of
attention,
is that you really? I mean, because I'd thought about that. But that is so slimy. If that's true, that's a really crappy thing to say.
Well, I mean, think about it. Mr. Beast does basically the same thing. You know,
I don't do much Mr. Beast watching these days. Fill me in just a little bit on what he.
Just in general, on YouTube and streaming platforms, I think obnoxious behavior does pull in viewership. There's a whole industry of like prank tubers and
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know,
and it rubs that rubs off on people.
Yeah.
My kids then copy that 100%. Kind of crazy. The loud, the always smacking, and the getting like really amped up. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm following.
So I have when you were talking there, 2 lists of 4 things came up in my mind, and we can go over those a little bit. And those 4 things are the first 4 things kind of leads into the second 4 things. The first 4 things are the 4 principles of Aristotelian rhetoric. In Aristotelian rhetoric, which is the theory of how to convince people, how to change people's minds, that Aristotle came up with, there was 4 basic methods and approaches, concepts, techniques that Aristotle believed were the best tools for changing somebody's mind. And those were logos, pathos, ethos, and kairos. Logos is like facts, statistics, data, percentages, those lists of things that Charlie Kirk has said and the qualitative analysis of how they impact the situation, the poetic irony of his own statements versus what happened to him. That is one logos that you might implore. Ethos is like your credibility.
Just real quick, I want to, with that in mind, actually, no. Finish your list. I don't want to get off on a sidetrack. Everything you're saying, I'm seeing these examples, and I want to mention them. But I want to hear you out first. Maybe we can go back and unpack it.
Note it down if you got a pad of paper, and
I got you.
Do that. Okay, so ethos is your credibility as an individual. It's like for a Christian, we know exactly what their ethos is. Their pastor, their religious leaders. It's like you can say anything if you're a religious leader for the most part, and people just, yes, sir, no question whatsoever. That is an example of ethos, like personal authority. For other people, it might be like, this person's a doctor, this person's a professor, this person has 14 PhDs, and you're more likely to take what they say as, quality, credible, likely to be accurate than just some random Joe schlub off the street. That's ethos. And then for pathos, it's obvious what pathos is. Pure emotion. Charlie Kirk's getting slain is going to destroy America. So, or Kirk getting slain is the left making their opening salvo on us. Be afraid, fear, panic, screaming.
Yeah, I mean, it was. They were saying it was the shot. It was the shot heard around the world. I mean, there are people, several high-profile fringe people have literally said, it's time. This is war. Let's go.
Yeah.
What's up, Joe? Several people have just flat out said it's wartime. There's no question about it.
Yeah. And then the final one is kairos. And that's the most important one, because that's the one that's the most out of your control. You can control how you want to attack logos, ethos, and pathos, but kairos is entirely about how open that individual is to hearing what you have to say. And in this moment, it's a negative kairos for a lot of people. We're less likely than we've ever been to convince them, because they're in Civil War mode, full-on reptilian brain, fear, survival, sex, hunger, basic operations, probably not even much emotion going through the brain right now. It's like
Mm-mm.
all survival mode. Even emotion is a little bit higher up in the brain function. So that is the Kairos side of thing. For other people, they are going into a kind of a depressive overdrive. They're hyper rational right now because they see the danger. And it is in those people that we have an opportunity for Kairos by show, like Wesley Coleman here says, he's showing me respect. And this guy, he craps on me a lot for being anti-creationist, but this is an opportunity to the whole point.
Yeah, cook on that for a minute. Yeah, cook on that for a minute, dude.
The whole point of progressive ideology is to show people a better way, is to do things a better way, more harmonious, with less suffering. And bearing down on a fresh wound is the exact opposite of that. It's sadism. And sadism is the thing we should be fighting. We should be resisting. We should be trying to revolutionize. And yeah.
No, I mean you're good. I mean this. I want everybody to think about this for a second. Who is on the left side of this thing? The atheist community is demonized by these people more so than everyone else, as being just evil, moralless, God-hating, baby-eating. Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
They're watching us. They were thinking this was us on some level. This is our opportunity to show them that we are people with different beliefs than them. That's it. This is the time that we can change that, not by trying to brute force convince them or show them a bunch of data about non-believers versus believers in crime, for instance, right? This is just, we are people, and we can't deny what we're seeing from this group. And they've denounced violence, and they've said, we are drawing a line too. We're going to stand in solidarity with you to a certain extent, setting up for a moment aside our major differences. That's what we need to be showing the world, because if we give them the evidence right in front of them, they can't deny it. I mean, they can lie about it, but they can't deny it. So that's what I'm focused on, is let's show them that what they are saying isn't true.
It is my viewpoint that if we're going to rub salt in the wound, we're basically embracing accelerationism. And accelerationism is not a good idea, generally.
No, it is not. And it is a destructive. Yeah, matter of fact, well, maybe I will pull that up later. I read an interesting statement from a organization, and it mentioned that. But this is the point in time, and it's moving quick. There are some people who have already made their decision. They're going to do something crazy. That's unfortunate. Yeah. But this point in time is a very small window where we haven't gone too far yet. There have been horrible things done on both sides, but we have not progressed any further from this point yet. We have an opportunity to turn this thing some way or another. That, I think, is really the overall goal, even over our theological or our, ideological beliefs.
Yeah.
We just want our kids to have a somewhat functional planet and everybody get along to a certain extent. Can we get there, and then we can get into some other stuff, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with too much of that. So that was the first list of 4 things I wanted to talk about. The other 4 things, and I think these are things we're going to need for both the people we agree with and the people who we disagree with on this issue. And those are the approaches to therapeutic treatment, to therapeutic ideas. We have an opportunity here to be somebody who heals, and somebody who heals is trusting most of the time.
Yeah.
Like if I've ever had a doctor that took good care of me, I trust the fuck out of that doctor. That doctor gets a call. He's the first person I call if I'm worried about my health, So
and I would say
have an opportunity to be that. Yeah, I was just saying we have an opportunity to be that.
Yeah, I was just saying too, even on an emotional level, like it takes a certain amount of trust to heal from a lot of this emotional baggage you get from the relationships damaged and the mind job that some of this belief gives you. Trust is real big. Trust is real big. And I think if we hear each other out a little bit, we can come to some common places and we can build a little bit of trust with some little things. But continue with the list. I apologize.
We've got so many sociological scars, Seth.
Oh, bro, I know.
We literally just commemorated one of the biggest, 9/11, like yesterday. And then we got another new, fresh, big one. And it feels very familiar. It rhymes a lot with what that was like.
Well,
everybody had it on their mind. And everybody has this on their mind right now, too.
It was the day before.
Yeah.
And, you know, I talked to my 11-year-old about 9/11.
Yeah.
How we didn't have the internet. Everybody was watching on TV, and, you know, people were jumping to their deaths. People were falling, burning. I mean, we watched these buildings fall and people, you know, it's horrible. But it sort of paled in comparison because I'm thinking he's got a phone. You know, they've all got phones. And when someone sent me that clip, before even it was really being reported on, I got it really early from a guy in the military who's like, big problems. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It's very disturbing to watch that uncut video, uncensored. And that is traumatic. And this whole country saw it. So, I mean, really, the comparison here is shockingly close to the traumatic psychological, you know, position it's put everybody in.
Yeah, no, Joe, you totally have a point, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with that at all. And that is part of what makes navigating this so difficult is the balance between you don't want to become a hypocrite by celebrating pain and becoming a sadist, which as a humanist, we should disagree with sadism. But you also don't want to embrace another kind of sadism by sanitizing a man who caused a lot of pain and deserves to be held to account for that pain. That pain should not be whitewashed. It shouldn't be ignored. It is, and it makes it difficult. So what that's what I think in the approaches of therapy, we can find some tools that we all might be able to use.
Okay.
So the first approach is called cognitive behavioral therapy. Are you familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy, Seth?
I am, and I think maybe me and you had some conversations in Kentucky. But for the audience, about 6 years ago now, I got out of the first responder world. I did almost a decade in there, and through that line of work, you see some things you can't unsee, and I have PTSD from it. I have been to therapy. I've been through treatment. It's way under control. But when this first started, because I was a Hovendite, because I was a science denier, medical science is bad. You know, drugs are pharmakia, which is, the Bible warns specifically against.
Mm-hmm.
So you suffered through this PTSD. I know very well cognitive behavioral therapy, because I got to a point where I had to. I mean, I was having major breakdowns. I thought I was having a stroke because my face would go numb. My tongue would be numb. I'm like, this is stroke behavior, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure my wife was probably,
psychological states can totally have physiological symptoms. And I'm sure tons of people on the right are having physiological symptoms right now. I have freaking physiological symptoms from this.
And
I have felt like my skin is paper thin and running with electricity all day. Since it happened. Like, even when I was debating Jim Bob last night, like I was almost at tears in a couple points. Like, it feels so heavy and so bad. But that's another approach. We'll get to that.
Go ahead. We can go back to it.
Yeah. So the cognitive behavioral therapy approach, it's goal-directed form of therapy. It focuses on the relationship between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And so it is kind of related, like the physiological, it does contribute to behaviors, and they do come from mental activity. So there is an aspect of it where it's relevant. But the core idea is that unhelpful or negative thinking patterns can lead to emotional distress and problematic behaviors. And have you showered
Yeah,
in bleach? Yeah. No, he actually did pretty good, Joe. It wasn't too bad. He was on pretty good behavior the other night, actually.
Yeah, it
But
absolutely can.
yeah.
For
So
sure.
so the focus is to identify and change distorted or irrational thoughts to alter emotional responses and actions. And I can see ways we can really apply this to this situation on both sides of the aisle. We can challenge and reframe the negative thoughts of people who think that leftists are trying to make war on right wingers in exactly the way you're talking about. We can uh, test beliefs through real life actions. If we show compassion, how is somebody going to rationally respond to that? Are they going to accept it? Is it going to get through the confirmation bias and establish a new pattern of observations in their mind? We don't know unless we put the data out there to give them the chance to observe it. And we can give people skills right now to cope, strategies to communicate, and to solve the problems that are causing this violence. We have an opportunity because people are probably looking for those things more than ever right now. They're desperate, they're hungry for connection, for a feeling of safety, for a feeling like our social contract, the safety net that is woven from it, is still there.
Right.
So
Right.
I think everybody should look up cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
Think about how you can apply some of these techniques to our friends and some of our political adversaries in the weeks to come as we navigate this issue. The next one is psychodynamic theory. And this one's like Freudian psychoanalysis. We think about unconscious processes and past experiences. This viewpoint is useful for us in that we can see the sociological conditioning. We can see that this person probably wants to be a better moral agent. They just have a different idea of what that means, how you quantify that based on their sociological and cultural conditioning. If we can model a better example, it should be attractive to people, especially
Right.
if we combine it with a good rhetorical approach. And we can use our awareness of the chronic relationship issues, the long-standing emotional difficulties, and the desire for deeper self-exploration. These are the problems that a psychodynamic approach can help us with. And then we've got humanistic, and this is my favorite, man. We all know humanism over here. Yes, humanism freaking rocks. We're talking empathy, we're talking goodness, we're talking
Compassion.
capacity for rational choices
Right.
and self-actualization. We're talking an approach that views humans as the experts in their own life and as us as their wise man, as their consultant who can show them paths that they might not be as keyed into. We can be that right now. The iron is hot for us to strike in that way, I believe. And what that's going to require, and this is the fucking hard part. As great as humanism is, it's going to be hard as fuck because we have to suspend judgment. We can't be judgmental.
That's a great way of putting it.
Charlie
Suspend
Kirk is
judgment.
a piece of shit. They immediately feel judged. We're not going to be able.
Of course. Yeah. And again, I have to be honest. In a lot of ways, he was, but now is not the time, and it's not the place to discuss that part. Is what we're saying. You know, we have to get past some of these things. It's almost like I could do, or I should do, right? You could say that and you would be right. But should you say this? Is this going to be beneficial or helpful to the situation, or is this going to irritate or agitate this person and push them further away?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. So look at the trees, and I don't disagree. I used to think this a lot more myself.
Trees, what's up, man?
I don't see any benefit to hand holding and coddling a bunch of bigots in the hopes that they unbigot. Sounds stupid. I agree that people that are that deep into the worldview are unlikely to change. Sorry, Seth, please.
No. I just wanted to make sure you were done with the list.
No,
Because I would like to, because this is really why I approached you in the first place and said, would you like to do this? Because trees is a great example. We have a very similar views in a lot of things, obviously. Yeah. We're in a lot of the same communities, but we have a issue here that this is the conversations that I want to have, because we have to figure out how to work through this stuff. He has a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. But we also have a counterpoint that may find some middle ground. So I love this, but I want to make sure you get through this section before you see what I'm saying?
I can make one quick point before we finish up.
That's fine. Yeah.
What we're talking about. I don't, from a quantitative perspective, you're 100% right. Look at the trees. I don't think we're going to get hundreds, thousands, millions. But from a qualitative perspective, I do believe even one person can make a difference. And I know we can get one person. We can get two people. We can get a whole bunch of people even, because me and Seth were both some people that got God. Right. And if we got God through rational and logical arguments, through some emotional circumstances, there are, like we were touching on this in the Aristotelian rhetoric section of what we were talking about. The kairos does have to be right. Bigots aren't going to unbigot if the kairos isn't right. I think this is a situation where for some people the kairos is right to maybe unbigot a little bit. And unbigoting isn't just a magic change. It's gradual. You start the transformation, and then years down the road, there's somebody on our side. There's somebody who's as eloquent as any other person who's helping define and actualize a new, better humanistic world. We want those people on our side. We need those people on our side. And we need to try to get those people, because if we don't try, we're for sure not going to get them. But that was my sure point. So, and keep in mind, look at the trees. If that isn't convincing to you at all, you can use this to help your friends too.
Right. Now, let me just touch on something real quick. Tell a little story to trees. I like trees a lot.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good place to tell this story. And I haven't told all this publicly. So during Obama's term, the group I was in was convinced the end was tomorrow. Not today, but definitely tomorrow. Make no mistake. And we had some plans in place. There was a stockpile of AR-15s that were tricked out, to the nines. I laid in a sniping post that was hidden in an attic of a house, so that when whoever it was, they were coming for us, we could shoot them at the top of the driveway. And I put the sandbags down and the ammo crates and laid down and looked and thought, yeah, this will work. That's the level of commitment that some of these groups have. And I was standing in an attic 7-8 years ago with the mindset of these bigots. And I'm sitting here 7-8 years later, encouraging people that are in that situation to look at it differently, because it took some time. It took years and then I finally got to a point when I deconstructed, I got to a point where I could look and say, I'm stuck in a cult and I can't get out immediately. I don't know, I was completely isolated, but I was open to it. What was it called? The state of mind. I'm sorry. On the list, number 4 of list 1. The
Oh,
credos,
Kairos. It basically means
it changed trees.
fake.
Right. It changed at some point from Obama's second term, or did he have 2 terms? He did have 2 terms, right?
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah. Well, both of his terms were crazy, but towards the end of the second one, it was insane. But it changed genuinely, and I got out, and to be somebody waiting on the sidelines going, hey, come over here, we can help you out. We can help you understand, we can help you get on your feet. You're fine. Let's get through this. You're okay. Here's how you move forward. I think that's the goal. And
yes.
Again, what you say has a lot of merit, but there are people, even if it's only a few, that will decide to step away from this insanity and may change the course of a family's life. Because it's not just me. It was my 5 young kids. It was their, 10 cousins, that were picking up on this stuff and were going to be exposed to this, that are now possibly in other situations, that psychosis and that insanity of a mindset and a worldview is avoided.
Yeah.
That's my hope. So.
Yeah. Normalization is a powerful tool.
Right.
Normalization is a powerful tool, and it can also be a powerful weakness. If we normalize cruelty, then we're no better than the systems we're trying to improve and maybe replace.
Right.
If we normalize violence as a solution, we're just more of the same. We're not really doing anything new.
Live by the gun, die by the gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. It's a cycle.
So this is a great point, and I'm so glad you brought this up, Joe, because you know what? We've been talking a lot about how leftists need to be careful not to that it could be cruel and unwise to celebrate Charlie Kirk's death. Right wingers are fucking doing it too. There's right wingers that are like, he's one of them. I'm glad he's dead. It's not just left wingers. I'm sure a bunch of those vile memes we've seen are right wingers, are other MAGAs like the MAGA that shot Charlie, who think that Charlie wasn't MAGA enough.
He wasn't extreme enough.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part, because the entry level MAGA is dangerous enough with their venom towards everybody who's not them, the hatred for gay people and, minorities alone. But then you start leveling up, it gets crazy. And yeah, people start getting killed over. And that's a real problem for the right.
Yeah.
And, for my friends, my right-wing atheist friends, some that lean more right than me, I would say the same thing, that I say to my other friends that are on more my side. Be careful with what you say. Don't lose a job. Don't pick a fight with family or lose a relationship over Charlie Kirk's death. I mean, really think about that before you do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, it is one of those things where even if we are on our best behavior, there are trolls who are going to pretend to be left wing and are going to shit all over Charlie Kirk to piss off their fellow Republicans because it motivates them, it galvanizes them,
right?
And it's also going to prompt sincere left wingers to do the same, thinking they're in good company. So don't be so quick to trust somebody just because they shit all over somebody you don't like, especially on the internet.
Right. Yeah, it is a crazy place, this internet, and me coming up as sort of the new guy on the block.
That's fair, anarchic box. Sorry, go on.
No, you're good. It's just I have seen the past couple days, it is psychotic, because I didn't even have Facebook for about 14 years. And then I just recently got back on it, and it's a fever dream and an acid trip.
Yeah.
But I think conversations like this, Austin, with people that we agree with, people that we don't, other people are going to find this video 3-4 months from now. The conversations are always going to produce some form of opportunity to provide some growth. And I think if we can focus on the interactions with each other, the micro, I guess, interactions that we can influence on an individual level, I think we will make some progress. And I we're not going to take it by, in one fell swoop. It's going to take some time, but I think there's going to be some people that are actually benefiting from these little conversations like this.
Yeah. You know what? And I remember that too. Look at the trees. And this is the thing. I don't want us to become this.
Mm-mm.
We're better than this.
Exactly.
We do not want to say an eye for an eye is the way we're going to do things.
Well,
it's a
I want to say
barbaric
something
worldview.
just that maybe this is going to be an unpopular opinion for a lot of the people on the left. I was in law enforcement, and I was still a sworn officer during this time. I did not know a single officer in person in our whole county or any surrounding area or any law enforcement groups I found, in my circle that supported or, didn't flat out denounce that behavior. The idea that, cops cover for each other. Of course they do. There's corruption everywhere. There's a lot of good people that I don't think got enough credit for denouncing that we're still going to work every day, because what happens in that line of work, something like that happens, and then a few weeks later, a cop gets shot. A cop gets shot pumping gas in another state. Well, eye for an eye. Well, now we're really freaking out because I want to go home to my family, and all I got to do, I'll take your wreck reports and your theft reports. Don't shoot me, please. I didn't kill the guy. I don't agree with it. No one I know does. But we had to live in that sort of environment every time you have one of these shootings. Trayvon Martin, same way. Just for the record, there's a lot of good cops and there's some bad ones. There's a lot of good people on both sides. And I mean that legitimately. There are people with bad ideas on both sides. We just got to try to work it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and for me, it keeps coming back to sociology, because there is a lot of sociological study in events like this and in how to take tyranny and authoritarianism and turn it into democracy. And I'll tell you what, people think that I've heard this a lot from really, really hardcore leftists, that fascism has never been repelled with nonviolence. And, authoritarianism has never been defeated with nonviolence. And I just do not think that is even close to true. I think nonviolence is actually the better method. Violence doesn't get people on your side a lot of the time.
No.
If you are being violent and you're being violent towards somebody that a potential ally cares about, bye-bye to that ally. They're never going to join your side.
Right.
So in a way, nonviolence is better. That is my opinion. I'm not saying it's the truth, but I think there's a lot of research to that. Check out Gene Sharp. If you've never studied the work of Gene Sharp, he's a legendary activist. You sure? Anyways, I think we want as many people as we can get on our side. I think person.
Well, I think as a humanist, if that's the stance you're going to take and you're going to be consistent and honest with yourself, if the motivation behind your, actions are health and well-being as often and as frequently as possible to as everybody as possible, and as little harm and pain, why would we not want the person out of that situation?
Yeah.
Because again, it's if you've ever had anybody that you are close to that struggles with addiction, you don't throw the strung out addict away because it's still your X, Y, or Z. It's your dad, it's your brother, it's your friend, it's whatever. You work with the person, even when they're stealing from you and, punching holes in your walls or whatever. You love the person and there is hope for that person. That's how I see it. Because if I'm going to be a consistent humanist, I have to believe that the good in people will outweigh the bad with the right information.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that violence is not going to be a good solution here. I think,
No, it is not. It is absolutely not.
and I feel like while there are people who are like, yeah, second Civil War, let's go, there's also a lot of people right now who are like, holy crap, we need to take a step back. And it is in that where the opportunity lies, I think. Those people want to step back, and we could maybe convince them to step back. And once they have stepped back, the cycle of reinforcement stops and new information can get in better. I know it's optimistic. I
Well,
can't help but
let
be
me. No,
optimistic
no, no.
sometimes, you know?
There is a lot of hope because there's a lot of people that are ready to. They want change of some sort. They're tired. They're exhausted mentally from just everything that's going on. Trump has brought so much anxiety and just this feeling of always walking on eggshells. What's he going to do? It's people want to change. I really do think, in a lot of cases. Let me just say real quickly, and some of my law enforcement and military friends will understand this. When you see death up close and personal, if you have ever been in an unfortunate situation where someone that you worked with on your squad was killed in the line of duty, whether that's military, police, or whatever else, it changes things. When you watch someone die, it's different than watching these videos. You are there, you're in this.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not want that smoke. That's not healthy for cops and military people long term. That is not something you should be exposed to long term. And I really don't think most of these people understand what they really are asking for when they think, let's just kick off a civil war.
Yeah.
The trauma that you will endure if you survive will be devastating.
Yeah.
It is horrific what will happen if we start killing each other in the streets, because that's what it actually is. So maybe consider that aspect a little more realistically than ideologically, right? It's going to get
I've
real.
been considering it, yeah, and
yeah,
I don't want to start having a checklist that I check every time before I leave the house. Do I have a first aid kit? Do I have water? Do I have etc.? I don't want to be checking my six every 5 seconds to make sure there's no boog boys out doing boog shit.
Right.
It is such a complicated situation. I want to help people. I want to help people on both sides.
Right.
And fuck me if that isn't hard as fuck to do.
It is, bro. And listen,
I'm sure just saying I want to help people on both sides just alienated a bunch of people on both sides.
Well, let me tell you this, and I've said this from day one. I'm the small guy on the block. I'm not here for views or subscribers. I'm here for the people who want to be here and who want to have these conversations and they want to learn and grow. If my content only keeps one person from driving their family essentially off the side of a cliff by getting involved with a group that is toxic on all these levels and these belief systems start seeping in and just wrecking their lives, it's worth it. I don't care. I've already lost 3 subscribers today. I don't care if I triple it. I'm here for the truth, and I'm here because someone like me will find this channel, and that's all that matters to me. So that's my personal take. I'm willing to ostracize myself if it means someone will actually benefit.
Yeah, no, the whole reason I started this channel, it started with creationism, but it quickly evolved into there's big problems facing the planet, and they're interconnected. There are things like bad education, undervaluing intellectualism and science and philosophy, erosion
Denial
of
of medical science,
all of this,
all
and
kinds of stuff.
Pretty much all of them are interrelated. And this situation is one wherein we can help prove that those problems can be solved. we can solve a smaller problem to, it's like a tune-up game, you know? If you played football, right, Seth? You know what a tune-up game is, right?
I do know what a tune-up game is. I've always been very skinny, so football was not my major thing. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No,
It's
so,
it's frustrating, and I hear your frustration because I don't have all the answers, and neither do you. I don't think anybody does. And I think the people who are here with a genuine interest in trying to help people and try to grow as a community and as an individual, we're frustrated because we don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this. You know, I just moved to Memphis to try to get on my feet. And then I find out today, because of this nonsense, that we're getting ready to start having this totally not fascist police military blend of what I guess random checkpoints and curfews. I mean, it's not a theory. It's happening here. The mayor just spoke today. I'm not sure when it's going to start, but that's in our town. So it's like, it's starting to affect the real world already. And it's frustrating because I don't know what to do about it, but I do know spraying a bunch of the opposition down is not the answer.
Yeah. No, that was the optimistic thing, was we can tune up game and solve a problem. The pessimistic thing is, if we can't fucking solve the basic test of don't be a dickhole over somebody getting a fucking bullet blown through their neck, are we completely fucked? I think maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, take a little bit of self-reflection and go, that's a human being who was murdered on live TV in broad daylight in front of hundreds of people, including his 2 small kids and wife.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should be broken up and tearing your clothes, and putting ashes on your forehead, mourning his death. You know, I found it very hard to have sympathy for him as a person, but everyone attached to him, I do have sympathy for. And that's sort of like am I not a psycho check for me? You know, I can still feel genuine emotion for someone I don't agree with. And I don't know, I think it's healthy to do. If you can't, or if you start getting sort of callous towards people, like, hold yourself accountable and think, you know, that's still someone's dad. You know, 3-year-old, from what I heard, I don't know if the reports are true, ran towards him because they were scared. They went to dad, and dad was dead. And I've got little kids, and that right there is why I've kept my mouth shut about him. So for what it's worth, there's other angles, and I think we need to keep ourselves focused on the fact that these are people, however this plays out.
And you know what? It's not like I'm convinced that we're going to convince every MAGA, and it's not like I'm tearing my clothes and crying and carrying on.
Right.
I don't think I've shed a tear. Like, I felt like crying for our country a couple times more than Charlie Kirk. I mean, I feel bad for him too. Not super duper bad. It's kind of like, you know, it's like the way in which I feel bad for somebody knowing they're going to have a big hospital bill after they've been a dick to somebody so much and then got their fucking face rearranged, you know?
Well, and it is possible to separate again. I get people cared about him.
Yeah.
He will be missed by some of his people, but his influence was so toxic. It actually is a benefit that he is no longer propagating that. That's a hard line to walk because you don't want to celebrate that fact, but it is the reality. The fact that he's not pushing anti...
It would be Machiavellian to say the ends justify that means.
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, like I said, man, we're spitballing here. This is a lot, but I think there's some things here that we can agree on, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. Because here's the thing, bro. Where do we go from here? Because you've given this list, you've given factual data. how do we get people to change? Because I'll be honest with you, bro. When I was in as deep as I was in, nothing you said would have convinced me.
Yeah.
Because it was a lie from the enemy. It was the evil left. They're trying to deceive you. It's literally, you are so closed off to changing your mind.
Yeah.
Those people are probably out of the question because it's going to take something in them to say, wait a minute, I have to, something clicks when you deconstruct that you have to initiate. But
you have
other
to get
people,
them to separate first.
Right. But the people who are separated is what I'm asking you. The people that are ready to possibly step one step away, one step to the left from where they currently are ideologically. What do we do for them?
This shit makes it hard too, Joe. I can't even fucking disagree. You're 100% right. Charlie,
right?
He did say that gun deaths are acceptable, and he said that empathy was dumb and bad.
Right. And see, I don't think I'm not mad when somebody's hung up on it. I understand the frustration and I get it. Like I'm asking people to show some empathy for someone who not only didn't show it to anyone else, but said it was a bad thing and a made up thing.
Prove it better than him. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I know, like, Joe, I feel you so much, dude. Like, I get it. I totally understand that side of it. I'm at a loss, man. I get it, Joe.
But I have a thought.
What is it? I guess what is the purpose overall of dwelling on it? Because it literally eats you alive. I feel like. Oh shoot, I missed that. I'm sorry. Let me go back to the live chat real quick.
Yeah. It wasn't a lefty. It wasn't a trans person.
Oh, here we go.
We did hammer that home again. Hammer that home a bit earlier. Right. Yeah, but yes.
Well, listen, man.
I have one. Maybe this will be a good thing to conclude on.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm looking at is there's a spectrum of possible futures that lays somewhere in the weeks and months ahead. And we want the best possible future we can get out of that. And that might mean having to prioritize actualizing that best possible future over what we're personally feeling, over what we're like. It's 100% valid. It's 500,000% valid for you to be like, fuck Charlie Kirk right now. 100%. I understand. I feel this possibility out there that is driving me to adopt a goal-oriented approach, with the goal being actualizing that best possible future. And I think this is the best way to do it. And I hope that if I'm wrong, that somebody can convince me that I am, and I'm open to the possibility. I'm open to the conversation. I want to help. I want to help. And so here I am. I'm at the table. What else?
Right.
So I think that is, I'm kind of tapped out on Charlie Kirk for tonight. I'm so glad we had this stream and this conversation.
Man. And I think
everybody's got it kinked up. It's in there. Get it out.
I guess
find
as a
somebody
closing
to talk to.
Right. Yeah. For me, I guess to wrap it up, what we are talking about here, when you are emotionally charged, which everyone is, whether you're on the left or the right now, everybody's on edge. My personal experience with people that I cared about and people that I still currently care about, when I'm emotionally charged and make a hasty decision, or I snap off at the mouth because I let those emotions take over how I feel about that person, what I know is rational, you get those emotions and all of that goes out the window. And then if you're adding alcohol to the mix, like I was, it makes it even worse. So let's try to at least acknowledge. That's one thing you have to acknowledge first. I'm being emotional here. I have to take a step back. I don't need to say this tonight. I don't need to make this video today. I need to wait 3 days and make a video so I don't say something stupid. I don't want to hurt the people I care about. I don't want to hurt the people I'm trying to reach. It's all sort of based on that emotional, I want to get this out. Take a step back and try to get your emotions under control. And I think a lot of people will find a lot better results like that. I surely did. So,
yeah,
more conversations to come, man. I appreciate you having me on. This is something that, I don't want to dwell on constantly, but I feel like it is a relevant topic that if you want to maybe do a follow-up here in a little while, and God forbid there's something else that
we'll give it some time.
Pops up. Yeah,
but
in
the meantime, best possible future. Keep that on your mind and think about how you can help actualize that. If you disagree,
right,
let me know. I would love to hear from you. And so let's take it to a slightly lighter subject. Gogeta or Vegito?
It's going over my head.
Are you not a Dragon Ball Z fan?
I am not. No. Oh, see, I grew up. It was satanic. It was satanic, and it's funny because there's certain things I wasn't allowed to watch or do that I later went back and really enjoyed. Dragon Ball Z was just one of those things that I think I probably would have enjoyed. I just didn't have the time for it. But no, I missed the reference. Joe, appreciate you hanging out, brother. Much love.
Yeah. So the two main characters are Goku and Vegeta. And one of the techniques that the characters use in the show is called the fusion technique. And there's two different ways you can fuse two warriors together and add their battle power to each other. And it makes them way stronger than just a pure addition. It's like makes them multiple times stronger. So one way is you can do a little fusion dance and you fuse together. Or there's magical items called Potara earrings. And if one person puts one of the earrings, if two people puts one of each of the earrings on, they fuse together and become a fusion. Goku and Vegeta have fused both of these ways. In one form, they're called Vegito. In the other form, they're called Gogeta. And so that's it's just a funny little.
That is wild. This is news to me, but the more you know, right?
Yeah, Gogeta is very cool. Vegito is the first one. I Boo Saga over GT every day, so Vegito takes it for me. But they're both super cool. Great question.
Well, I will do what I've learned to do over the past few years, and that's say I don't have enough information, so I'm going to refrain. But real quick before we head out, Trees, if you're still in the chat, I appreciate you, interacting and us having some conversations. Always much love. We'll see you in the damn show chat for sure. Yeah. And everybody else for watching, I appreciate y'all having me. Caruso is past his bedtime, so he's like, get out of my room. That's where I'm set up right now. So I'm going to jump. I love y'all. I mean it. Stay safe. Take care of each other. And we're going to get through this. Yeah. Take a breath and we're going to get through this.
Rely on your friends and be there for each other.
Reach out, check on your people. People are in a really tough spot right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in people's lives that just from these circumstances are making it harder. So check on your people. Austin, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah. I will talk to you soon. And you guys have a great weekend.
That's one of the ways we're going to actualize that best possible future is taking care of everybody, taking care of each other. So take care of each other and have a great night, y'all.